Good morning, and this is episode 2 of Talkin' Ball with Coach Ray. Welcome, Coach Ray.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so my first question today for you, give me a recap of Sandrock's game last week.
Well, the weather was crazy. It's the first thing that sticks out in my mind. I mean, it's been a long time since I played a football game in just driving rain, and we were, kind of worried, I guess, because we really didn't know what to expect from the weather with the hurricane, coming in and everything, and it had kind of cleared out, and the forecast was showing, everything was going to be fine, and then all of a sudden, it just sets in and seems like it rained off and on, pretty hard the whole first half. So, obviously, you can't control the weather and you can't control what the other team's going to do. You can just control what you do and what you do to prepare. So, we had wet ball drills during the week, and our kids were focused. So we felt good going into the game, and obviously, we got out and got started pretty fast. The one thing that I can say that we're not pleased with is the penalties. That can hurt you, and fortunate for us it didn't. But we had several penalties that were called. Now I'm not sure all of them were penalties, and looking back on the film, I think we got some home cooking, if you will, not necessarily the good kind, because the penalties that were being called were not necessarily visible to us, and nevertheless they got called, and we were able to overcome that, and I thought we played about as good as we could play offensively. We scored a bunch of points, and we got some things that we can work on, some things that we can get better at, and defensively we fly around the football, and again we want to be as physical as we can possibly be, and had some guys step up and play really, really well. We're getting some guys back this week that will be able to kind of add to our arsenal, our physicality, and give us some more options on things to do. So we're excited to have those guys back, and we're looking forward to this week, especially after a big win against a rival team like Sandrock last week.
Well, I know, talking about this week, I know you've got a tough game coming up with Geraldine. They had a big win against Boaz last week. Tell me how they look on film.
Well, the first thing that just jumps out at you, they're really, really big, and I'm very excited to be in Collinsville, but I think everybody would be on. I think everybody would have to agree that we're the underdog. We're smaller, they're big, they're fast, they're physical. They've been in big games before. They have a great football team, and they've just won a big game for them against Boaz in the rain. And Boaz is a very, very good program, have been for years, and they're very well coached. So the first thing that really jumps out on me, or jumps out about them on film when you look at them, they're very, very, very well coached. They do a ton of stuff offensively, and I don't know that I've ever broke down a film on someone or a team that has this many formations, and they do so much offensively that it really forces you to be very manila on defense, and it forces you to really step back and not really focus so much on you, but what they do. And it's definitely going to pose a threat, not just because they're big and they're physical and they're fast, but because they're so well coached, and because of everything that they do on offense. And they fly around on defense. They've got a good quarterback that plays both ways. They're good in the secondary. They're really, really big up front. Defensively, they slant, and the hardest thing to do in football is block a slanting front. And they slant across your face, and they line up in different positions. And one week they're field boundary, and the next time they're formation strength. So they're very, very unpredictable on how they're going to line up on defense, and they're very, very unpredictable of how they're going to line up on offense, and they never seem to be confused. They do a really good job really making you think and making you play gap sound and making you play your responsibility, and they try to play your rules against you. There's several things that they do that really put you in a bind. Are you going to set the edge, or are you going to take the first back out? And stuff like that is very, very complicated. They go 2 tight ends, 2 backs in the backfield, all the way to 5 wide, no tight ends. So you really have to put your thinking cap on. You really have to prepare. And we've had a great week of practice. So I think our kids understand their responsibility. I think they understand the severity of the consequences of losing this game, which, the hope of a region championship is still alive here in Collinsville. If we beat Geraldine and Sylvania beats Fife, then, we're the region champs. And, we feel like we kind of let one slip away, if you will, against Fife, and our kids have gotten better each week. And, right now what we're focused on is Geraldine, and if we can get by Geraldine, and that's a tall task, but if we can get by Geraldine, we'll have a huge game the next week against Sylvania, win, lose, or draw, because they're playing for a region championship this week. So we've got region championship week the next 2 weeks, so we know what's coming down the gauntlet, if you will, for us, and we also know the the importance of playing well for the rest of the remainder of the season, because you still got Holly Pond to deal with. You don't want to lose a game against Valley Head because they're right down the road. So the meat of our schedule is still in front of us, and we have gotten better each week. We're healthy. And we're excited, for the challenges ahead. So hopefully we'll do our job, and we can have a bigger game next week. So we got to take care of business this week. It's a great football team that just won in convincingly amazing fashion against Boaz. I mean, they played really, really physical, and Boaz is a great football team. They've got a quarterback that can sling it all over the yard, and Coach Jeremy Sullivan does a great job with them. And one of the guys I used to coach with at Etowah, Coach Bone, he is a really, really good football coach. And I'm excited to see what Geraldine has for us. And anytime you can play competition like that, it's a fun week. So we welcome them. We welcome the challenge, and can't wait to get on the field with them.
Well, how do you feel about the upcoming match between Sylvania and Fife?
I really don't know how to feel about it. I think Coach Benefield at Fife is, the Nick Saban of Alabama high school football. Him or Danny Horn and so many other guys that have done so much for the sport of football and showing people that the state of Alabama has great high school football and has great high school football coaches. Guys like that don't come along very often. And, Fife is very well coached, but so is Sylvania. I mean, Tanner has done a great job with those guys up there at Sylvania. I think he's got them bought in because they were well coached. Their coach went to Scottsboro, and Tanner took over, and they hadn't missed a beat. I think they play a tough schedule, but so does Fife. They had a very, very tough loss this week, but Coosa Christian is a they're a different animal. They're not your normal small school football team, and they're very well coached. So this region and this area is so competitive, if you will, and everybody can beat anybody on a given night. But as far as Sylvania and Fife, I really don't know who's going to win. You know, Fife's had some injuries and had people dinged up. I know 24 is a great football player for them, and I think he's going to be back and more healthy than he's been all season, which poses a huge threat not only offensively but defensively. The running back at Sylvania is very, very good. They're great up front. Both teams play very physical and fly around on defense. It's going to be a Alabama, Georgia type atmosphere for that one for sure. Fife's looking to get back on track. I'm sure they'll fix the issues that they may or may not have going into this football game, and Coach Benefield will have them ready, and I know Tanner will have his guys ready. So if I had to say I'm picking a team, I would like to think that Sylvania could get it done, and at least I want them to. That would make them undefeated in the region and would force a three-way tie with us and them and Fife. And due to non-region wins, which we have not lost a non-region game, we would be the favorite in the non-region matchup. So it would make us the region champion if we were able to beat them. But as far as who's going to win the game, I don't know. It's a coin flip. I know both teams are very well coached. That both teams are very talented, and I guess if I'm pulling for one, it would be Sylvania, and only because of selfish implications for what it would mean for us. But that's my 2 cents. So I guess we'll have to wait till Friday night on WQSB scoreboard to find out who wins. But again, we're not looking forward past this week. We're focusing, but our coaching staff and our kids are all focused on Geraldine, and hopefully we can take care of business, and then next week will be even bigger.
You mentioned that these next 2 weeks are region championship weeks. What does a win this Friday look like to you?
In order to be victorious against a good football team, you're going to have to be clean, both offensively and defensively. You're going to have to cut out mistakes. You're going to have to cut out the penalties, and you're going to have to protect the football. I played college football at JSU for Jack Crow, and he's won a ring everywhere he's ever been. And he was offense coordinator at Auburn when Bo Jackson was down there, and he coached for Pat Dye. And, you know, he's just a tremendous human being to be around, and you can learn so much more than football from a guy like him. But one thing that really has always stuck with me that he told us, you know, and it was a running bet the whole time I was on the football team at Jacksonville. You know, he'd buy you a rack of ribs from Cooter Brown's if you could show him a game where the team, and this was easiest way to put it, the team with the most rushing yards and the fewest number of penalties and the fewest number of turnovers will always win the football game. So, you know, Geraldine's a running football team, but I like to think that we have the best running back in 3A football. I mean, he's averaging 5 touchdowns a game over the last 3 weeks, and Rogers for us is an incredible talent. You know, he's about as fast and about as physical as any running back that I've ever coached or any player that I've ever been around. I mean, he's a tremendous talent, and our offensive line does a great job blocking for him. And a reason that we can, you know, average so much is because our average so much rushing is because, you know, the guys up front and our quarterback play and our wide receiver play. You know, we throw it around quite a bit, especially for a small school. And you know, our offense is starting to click. I think we're starting to form an identity, form some chemistry, if you will. And you know, we play really well on defense. You know, we're scoring a lot of points, but you know, the last 2 weeks we hadn't allowed a point on defense. So There's still things to clean up. We're not perfect, but we're definitely getting better every week. And I couldn't be prouder of our football team and how they work. And the thing that I'm most excited about, we've had the best week in the weight room starting back on Sunday. Our kids come in, we iced them down, gave them an ice bath, and worked them out and ran them a little bit on Sunday. And we had great focus all week at practice. Mentioned how much stuff they do offensively, and we've just gotten better and better. And we've had a great week of preparation. Hopefully that'll transfer over to a big win for this program.
I'm Zach Clanton. Thanks for joining us, and this is episode 2 of Talking Ball with Coach Ray.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Collinsville Panther Network. And always remember, if you're not from Collinsville, you should be.